everyone, it's Shayna with Dancing Daisy Designs, and today we're going to be updating this oak coffee table in a farmhouse style. I'm going to be staining the top with a weathered gray stain, and then we're going to be painting the base in white. It's going to be awesome. I went ahead and I sanded the top of the table first to prepare it for stain, and I chose to go with a weathered gray colored stain, and this product is Varathane Premium Wood Stain, and it says it dries in 1 hour and achieves color in 1 coat. So that sounds pretty good to me, so that's why I picked this one up. If I would have any of my non-toxic stain, I would use that, but I'm out. So I'm going to go ahead and try this brand. And then I'm going to be painting the base in white. The color that I chose is White Swan by DIY Paint. This is a non-toxic, all-natural, clay-based paint. It has no VOCs. I really love that. So we're going to be using this to paint the base. And we're going to start with the base. That way, if I get any of the white up under here, I can just wipe it off. And I think that will be a little easier than staining it and then worrying about taping it off and stuff. So let's start there. And this is the color. It's a beautiful white. And I've got my Paint Pixie brush that I'm going to be using. And I've already cleaned it really good to prepare it. And so we're just going to get started painting. It goes on really nice and covers pretty good. With the first coat, you're going to get a little bit of streaking, especially if you've got a slicker surface. And this one is done with a slicker type of finish. So we are going to get a little bit more streaking on here, so it will need 2 coats. And I hope you guys don't hear my heater. I have my heater going out here because it's a little cold, and it's making a blowing noise, so I hope you guys don't hear that. And if you do, I hope it's not too loud and bothersome. I apologize for that. This table I have been working on for quite a while, actually. I started sanding it, and because I don't know, I don't like to use chemicals, and so I didn't want to strip it, and so I was gonna go ahead and sand it instead. So I started sanding it, and man, it was just taking forever to sand. I even called people I know who know more about like sanding and staining furniture, who have years and years of experience, just to find out, wow, is this normal? Or do I have some kind of a crazy wood table here? And they're like, well, maybe you should strip it with this stripper. But because I already started, I didn't want to get like, you know, like a weird like effect on one side and then this other effect over here from sanding it. So I decided just to like suffer through it and just keep sanding and sanding. And I finally got it down to the raw wood over the whole piece, just like I wanted. And but I'm telling you, I've been working on this project for at least a month now, just because of the sanding. Yeah, I like to paint the furniture, you know, and not really stain it. It's not really my thing. So I mean, every now and then I come across a piece and I just feel that it'll really do better with stain, and so that's what I do. But I mean, it's just not my go-to. So next time maybe I'll go and try to do the chemicals. Because man, I'm telling you, that was quite a feat. So let me turn around here so you can still see me while I paint. Yeah, the temperature really dropped where I live, and it's October, you know, only not too many days, like a week into October, and it's 40 degrees outside. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, already? So I'm hoping it's gonna warm back up and we're gonna get a little bit of an Indian summer, but I'm not sure. I guess we just have to wait and see what nature has in store for us. So, just a little bit there. Okay. So that's pretty much what the first coat is going to look like as far as coverage. So I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to finish painting the rest of the legs, let it dry a little bit, and then I'll do a second coat, and then I'll come back out when we're ready to stain the top, and we can do that together. I did apply 2 coats to the base in order to get full coverage, and I think it's looking better already, so I just wanted to give you guys a look at how it's coming along so you can see just what a big difference just painting the base white made. Now I'm ready to do the stain, so we're going to get started with that. I've got the stain, the weathered gray. I've got just a cheap chip brush to apply it. I've got a clean rag and a glove because I don't want to get all gray. So let's get started with that. I'm going to move the camera so you guys could see better. Alright, I adjusted the camera so you guys can see the tabletop while I do this. I opened up the stain and this is what it looks like. It looks like gray paint. So fingers crossed it is going to do what it says and get that coverage in one coat. So there's our color. And let's put it on. For me, I personally like to use a brush to apply stain just because it seems to me like it gets more product on there. Some people use cloth. I don't know. I just like a brush better. I feel like I'm getting more done that way. Well, it's definitely gray, no doubt about that. It says in the directions to put it on and leave it for about 3 to 5 minutes and then wipe it off. And then if you want it darker, you leave it on longer. And if you want it darker than that, then you can apply more than one coat. So we'll see how it looks and go from there. And I have to tell you, when you're used to using non-VOC paint, boy, this stuff does have a smell. Okay, well this is what we achieved with one coat, leaving it on for 5 minutes and then wiping it off. I think it did a really great job based on the fact that this is an oak table, which means it has tighter grains. And when you have tighter grains, I would think that it would be just a little bit more challenging for the stain to absorb into the wood. And so I think this did a really great job. I am seeing some orange coming through on the table, and so I think I might go back over it with one more light coat and see if I can get just a little bit more gray in there, because that's the look that I would like. Less orange, more gray. And so, sorry I've got you in really close and personal. I wanted you to be able to see what I'm talking about in detail. And so I've got you in as close as I can get you, where you could see the tabletop, some of the base, and me. So, and I've got the light focused on the table, so sorry if my face is glowing and really bright and washed out. That's just so you can see this better. Next, after I finish with the second coat on the top, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do a faux distressing on the base. The reason I'm going to do that is because as you know, we had a very orange base, that orangey oak color. And so if I were to just go ahead and distress it now, that's what we're going to see underneath of there, and that's not what I want. I could have painted it with gray paint, sealed it, painted the white over it, and then distressed it back and we would see gray underneath, but I didn't do that. And so I'm going to do a faux finish for the distressing. The way I'm going to do that is I'm going to dry brush on some gray paint over the white just to add places that look like distress. So stay tuned for that fun technique. As soon as I finish with the top, I will bring you back and we will do the faux distressing together. My tabletop is stained and dry. I turned the table over so that I could stain this under lip here of the tabletop, just so it'll have a nice finished look. When your customer carries the table out to their vehicle, they're going to see the underside of it. So you want it to look like you cared, and you did a nice finished job. So I did that. And I went ahead, and since it's upside down, I saw that there were some spots on the legs that needed a little touch up. It's always good to look at things upside down as well. So now I'm ready to do my faux distressing on the legs. And what I did is I took my paint and I just got a little bit of it. This color is Letterpress Gray by DIY Paint, and it is a very, like a lighter gray color. And I'm going to just use a chip brush to apply it. And the reason I'm going to do that is simply because I like how it's all staggered at the end here. For dry brushing, what I'm going to do, I feel like that's going to give me a really good look. So that's why I'm going to use this brush. Just want to make sure I got any bristles that are going to fall out taken care of there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just very lightly just get the tips, paint on the very tips. See that? And then take it off a little bit. So I'm just getting the tip wet. Take that off. And then what is this called? I know what this is called, but for some reason I just forgot. Offsetting? No, I'll think of it. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, remembering that the table is upside down, I'm going to just kind of do where I think it would have natural distressing. So I'm just going to barely hit the edges that I want to appear to have some distress. So see how I'm just putting a very small amount of paint on there. Not much at all. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see it a little bit. Okay, so just barely getting any on there, just in the areas where I want it to have a little distress. And so you can do this as light or as heavy as you'd like. It all depends on what you're looking for, but you can use paint to do distressing. So a little bit here. See how that just that teeny tiny bit on the brush is all you really need? So I'm just barely touching the area. Let me get a little bit more of this on here. and then I'll bring the camera in close so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Want to get it on the corners. I feel like that's where you would have some natural distress. Okay, let me bring you in a little bit closer so you can see exactly what it looks like. Okay, here is an up-close look at what the distressing is looking like. So this is with the dry brushing with the paint, and as you can see here, you can make it look just like you distressed it with wet distressing or sandpaper. So that's a up-close look at that. Sorry about the background. I'm cleaning my garage today, so it's a mess everywhere. So come to find out, when I went to wash my brush that I used to stain the top of the table, this is an oil-based stain. I did not realize that until I went to wash my brush. There were some clues now that I think back. The smell was really strong from the stain, and that should have given me a clue. I'm not sure if like that really great coverage in one coat, remember it only took like 3 or 4 minutes and we wiped it off and it was really great coverage. I'm not really sure if maybe that's because it's oil based, maybe that makes a difference for that. I use water based, so not a lot of experience with oil based. So be careful when you're shopping. Make sure that you read the label really well and you grab the product that you're intending to. Because it was an oil-based stain, I had to wait, it said like 72 hours just to make sure, you want to make sure it's completely dry in order to use a water-based sealer on top of it. So I actually wound up waiting about 3 days just to make super sure, because it's cold in my workspace, and so that makes the drying time take a little longer, so I waited, and I did seal it over with a water-based top coat, a liquid top coat, and it worked just fine. It looks great. It's sealed well. I did 3 coats on the top because it's a coffee table, and I could see it getting a lot of use. Maybe somebody putting like a cup that gets some water on it, things like that. So it's really well sealed, and I just love the finished product. So learn from my mistakes, read your label really well. And I just wanted to, this project's all finished and we're done, so I wanted to thank you so much for watching. I really have a good time doing these videos for you guys, so I really hope you're enjoying following along with me on my projects. If you're not already a subscriber to my channel, make sure to hit that red button and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. And give me a like if you enjoyed this video. And again, thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!